This episode of Outdoor Journal Radio is brought to you in part by the Invasive Species Centre, protecting Canada's land and water from invasive species. Freedom Cruise Canada, rent the boat, own the memories. JMB Cycle and Marine, your home for all things power sports, boats, and equipment. And Silverwax, absolute care for everything you drive.
And there we go. Hey, everybody. Welcome to this week's Outdoor Journal Radio podcast. The podcast, really. And On the Road Again feature, as you hear with this music, with this crazy heavy metal Willie Nelson stuff going on there. Obviously, Angelo is not with me again. This has been a road trip without Ange. She's very busy at home. Family stuff, etc. going on. I got with me our illustrious and magnificent Dean Taylor.
Off the buttons again, so the people are going to be happy about that. But also behind the camera and sort of on the buttons over there is Mr. Rick Delishny. So a little round of applause for him. Thank you very
everybody.
Much.
Good day.
Absolutely. We got a great ovation for Ricky. Mm-hmm. We are sitting here on our second leg of our Quebec shoot this year. We were on Lake Kippawa just previous to this, not very far from here. And now we are on Lac Beauchêne at La Réserve Beauchêne. And as Dean is going to attest, and as Rick is going to attest, this place is something else.
Oh my God, it's amazing.
It is absolutely.
It's definitely the right way to end a shoot. Coming here.
Nice. Absolutely. Excuse the wind noise. You're going to hear the wind noise. For those that are not watching, we are sitting on the shore of Lac Beauchêne with our beautiful cottage, our cabin. I guess you'd call it not a cottage. Our cabin behind us.
The Moose.
The Moose. It's a 10-person cabin. 3 bathrooms, it's at least 3 or 4 bedrooms with bunks and different bed configurations. You can, like I say, sleep up to 10 people. This place is outstanding. It's like heaven. It's heaven. It's on La Réserve Beauchêne means a reserve. So what it is and we'll get into this later. I'm going to have Dmitri on here to talk about the specifics about it. But it's basically a chunk of land. We don't even know how big it is. There's 40 lakes that they only these people can fish these lakes, right? This the company, Réserve Beauchêne. So, and they, I'll get into it after, but I'm just telling you, wait till the end of the show when you hear about this place. It is absolutely outstanding, and the fishing is second to none. Again, we're outside here in the breeze because it's so hot. We've been in a 30 to 35 degree Celsius heat wave every day. It's just pummeling, and you'd think the fishing was horrible, but no.
And the wind's also not stopped. This has been pretty much nonstop for like 4 days.
This is the mellowest wind we've had, but it's only because we're recording this at 9:45 in the morning. So we're getting this done and getting it out of the way because it's still nice and coolish. So, but before we get to that, obviously we're going to do our usual podcast. There's one of the people going out. There's a couple here from the U.S. A lot of people from the U.S. are here, and they're going out every day in this crazy heat, and they're catching all kinds of walleye, and they're bringing some back to eat for supper and all that. So we've already talked to them this morning. They're hardcore. They're here for another 3 or 4 days. But shop.fishingcanada.com.
Yep.
What do you got on?
I got on the 40th anniversary special.
I don't even have that one. So Dean's obviously special.
Yeah.
The special for the special.
Limited access. Yeah. You got to get on them.
I got a Fishing Canada tee. This is an oldie, but it's still a goodie.
That is an oldie.
You can get obviously all your swag, all the Fishing Canada swag that you want.
It's got crew on the back.
Well, you're not supposed to say that because I'm not really the crew.
No,
right?
that's what I was gonna say. But you're not a host.
Maybe this was a 40-year ago shirt.
Yeah.
I can't remember why we had these shirts made up. Vance had a bunch of them made up, and we just put the crew shirts on. And I think we might have been. You know what? It was one of the boot camps that we had up at Steve's Lodge, probably. Yeah. So, so shop.fishingcanada.com. Although we never wore, I didn't wear my hoodie this week, did you?
No way.
Not at all. I had it there sitting up there ready to go. I had the Chinook hoodie, which I love, but didn't have to wear it because it's so hot. But you get some quality stuff. We would appreciate the support of the company by showing the colors and, obviously just purchasing a little bit of stuff here and there. It's great for everybody. So, and it's quality. So Campus Crew makes all our stuff, or most of our stuff, and it's just fantastic. So shop.fishingcanada.com or fishingcanada.com and go to the store. Thank you very much. Next one, Dino, what do we got?
Listener feedback on YouTube.
Oh, this is a good one.
I've been wanting to address this one for a while, but I haven't been quite sure how to put it in, but I thought it fit here.
Go for it, buddy.
Thunderboya2571 via YouTube. He's here every week. As long as we've been putting podcasts on the internet, he's been around with hashtag Save the Burbot every week.
So he's listened to everyone,
and
he's commented on everyone, and that's the only comment he puts.
That's all he puts. And actually, the reason this
is on here this week is because he missed. I don't know if he went on vacation, but he missed like 10 episodes. He went back to all of them and put this on there.
So he's just copying and pasting, right?
Yeah.
Copy, paste, copy, paste.
And I would love to hear from him about what this means because I love burbot. I'm a huge burbot guy. So if they need to be saved, I'm on board.
And he obviously loves them as much as you do, right?
But
so
from what I know, they're in pretty good shape. I mean,
sorry, I'm gonna get my mic a little better here.
Okay.
Yeah.
I don't think they're in peril. I mean, I know they're not considered a game fish, so they're not protected by regulations in most places, including Ontario, which to me is crazy.
Yeah, they could be. They could be a game fish.
Well, and a lot of people are onto them now. I feel like with social media now, because they are huge and they're so they're so crazy looking. In places like Simcoe, and a lot of even bigger lakes in other provinces, people are starting to kind of catch on. And I feel like if you don't protect them, they are going to be abused because they taste so good.
Yeah, that's I've never tasted one. I've caught a couple in my day. The one thing about a burbot, you're going to freak out when you if you don't know what one is.
Oh, man.
I just showed Rick this morning, the listener, before this podcast. He didn't know what one was. He went, oh, my God, what is that?
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
That's the reaction most people have.
They'll freak you out. It's like a Rob Zombie movie. It'll be a perfect character in a Rob Zombie movie.
And there's a lot of stuff people don't know about them. Like, I've heard multiple people say that it's an adult mud puppy.
No.
That they're no, yeah, like
really?
Obviously they're not
okay.
So they're basically a freshwater lingcod. So they are a fish. A mud puppy's not a fish.
Yeah.
And they taste like cod. Like the quality of the meat is like that.
Really,
so
if
he's saying save the burbot in terms of put them on the sport fishing regulations, set a limit and protect them, I completely agree with him.
You know what? It wouldn't hurt anybody.
No,
why not? Why not add it to the list? You know what I mean? As more angling pressure hits all these waters, and they're, like you say, there seem to be more plentiful and more and people are getting onto them. They spawn under the ice, right? They spawn under the ice,
which makes them really susceptible.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I mean, you don't want to stop the ice fishery that's for them now, but maybe some good limits like that, just so that they, if there's no limit on these things and they're spawning under the ice, so you go out at midnight one night and you get the right night, you could probably catch 20 or 30 of these things, couldn't you?
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
And I think putting them in the regulations might kind of raise some awareness because I've heard of people killing them and not eating them.
Yeah.
Because you catch them and you think they're
snake
weird.
or it's a
they're
serpent
like
or something, right?
slithering around the ice.
Yeah.
So maybe it'll put some attention on them and get them protected.
That would be nice if they could. So anyways, Thunderboya, whatever, 2571. Give us just write in maybe info@fishingcanada.com on one of our socials or YouTube, because you're always and just give us a reason as to what, or call the office and talk to Dino. Dino and you and Dean have a lot in common on the old burbot. So it'd be really interesting to hear your take on this, because hey, you know what, it might be a whole podcast subject.
Could
right?
be,
If we did a burbot podcast, that'd be great.
We'd have at least two. It'd be me and him. We'd be diehard listeners of that show.
That's awesome.
Everyone else would take the week off.
Okay, thanks, Thunderboy, and everybody, again, YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, info@fishingcanada.com. That's for listener feedback or questions. It doesn't matter. Give us, just keep us active in the socials and everywhere, and we'll get back to you. I mean, we might not feature you now, but if he's done it, like, how many times he's done hundreds now?
Oh, we've been doing, we're in like the 180s now since episode 90 or something at least.
So we finally got to him. So that means we will get to you.
100 episodes, you'll get heard.
Yeah. That's a bit of work, but go for it. What do we got? Oh, Conservation Corner.
Yeah.
Grass carp. Again, we're going to talk about the grass carp. Dean said last podcast, or one of the podcasts before this, that one was caught in Huron? Was it
Lake Huron? Yeah.
Lake Huron. Yep. Somebody had caught one. So
there's probably more news on it by now. We record these a little bit behind, so you guys may know more about it than us right now. But
you might.
This is important.
It is very important, and the beauty of a place like Lac Beauchêne right here, like now, is pretty much guaranteed that they're not going to make it here. You know what I mean?
And they wash the boats and everything.
Yeah. That's another thing about this place. Yeah, they're making sure that there's no invasives that get in here and that. So these beautiful lakes up in the North Country are probably, exempt from a grass carp, unless somebody brings an aquarium fish and drops it in here, which is the stupidest thing you could ever do. And it's highly illegal, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So don't be doing that. But unfortunately, down in the southern part of Ontario, it's prominent, it's evident, and now it's real. I mean, and Lake Huron is a perfect example, and we know there's been some traces in Quinte and Lake Erie. Mm-hmm. So just remember to go to asiancarp.ca. Check out how to ID these fish, and thank God the guy in Huron did, and he ID'd it and got a hold of the authorities and report it, and they will take the next step if they can to take care of business.
Yeah, for sure.
Asiancarp.ca. Dino.
Yes.
Brought to you by J&B Cycle and Marine up in
course.
Timmins, our great partners for the news piece. What do we got in the news, bud?
So there's been a lot of news stories. I couldn't find one specifically.
I like this one.
But when we were out on the Bay of Fundy last year in Nova Scotia, there were great white shark sightings everywhere. We were so hopeful we were going to see one.
Yeah.
Because we had been hearing most of the anglers, they weren't even surprised anymore.
No, they're not.
They're kind of used to them, and they're actually kind of annoyed by them, to be honest, which is so crazy to me because, I mean, as a kid, you just dream of seeing. Well, you kind of have. It's kind of more of a nightmare. Seeing something like that.
But right now, though, just to interrupt you for a second before the story, Greg Beliveau, for instance, our guide out there, he has embraced this because people are hiring him to not only catch stripers, but with the hope of a big shark sight. Not just a shark sighting, a shark attacking the striped bass that they're fishing for. You know, coming up and grabbing it on the surface.
So
Can you imagine
cool.
that as a bonus on your fishing trip?
Oh my
I
God.
get it. You sacrifice a striper, okay. So just to see that happen, or him attempting to get that fish, that'd be just insane.
Yeah.
So, anyways.
So I guess I've been seeing even on the CBC and stuff, they're kind of picking up on these stories because they're finding over 1,000 or so. The breeding season in the Bay of Fundy for great whites, it's become a bit of a hotspot up there.
Yeah.
I think seals are moving into the area. I think it's all like water temperature based.
Right.
Like as the waters are warming, they're moving up because they were always associated with like Cape Cod and stuff like that, right?
Yeah, they were, East Coast but south. South of us, right.
And now they seem to be up here. So Bay of Fundy is not, or the Minus Basin where we were isn't actually like the hot spot.
Right.
This Pascomodi Bay, I don't know if I'm saying that, Passamaquoddy Bay in the Bay of Fundy.
Yeah.
That's the hot spot. So from July to October, that's kind of when the majority of these sharks are being spotted.
Right.
There's no human to shark correlation. Like that's not like there's no more attacks than there's ever been or anything like that. So there's nothing to worry about in that sense. It's more just like they are in the area, which is pretty cool for people who are looking for more of a tourism experience to go experience these.
So I got
a shark tracker.
There's an app if anybody. It's a free app if you want. It's called Shark Tracker. I'm looking at it right now, and along the East Coast, and there are some that are in Canada right now. Not a lot right now, but they track certain great white sharks. So they're off the coast, both sides of Nova Scotia right now, and one in the Gulf of St. Lawrence.
Okay.
And then two more off the tip of Nova Scotia. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 great whites that they're tracking right now as we speak. And that's at least 5, you know what I mean, that they're tracking. So that's a good app to get the Shark Tracker, because then you realize, oh my God, this is real. These things are in Canada. It's hard to believe that great whites are in Canada.
Is.
And when we first heard it years ago, because it's been going on for a while, we heard it years ago. We said, no way, it's a mako that got, you know, or a poor beagle. Somebody saw a great big giant poor beagle shark and they thought it was a great white. But no, these great whites are moving. And what Dean said, the whole key to all fish life is food. It's all life is food, right? Everything that lives needs to eat, right? So these guys are coming after these seals. If the seal population's getting up, these big boys are coming in and getting a good and stripers. You kidding me? They get a 30-pound striper. That'd be a treat, just like we love them, right?
Yeah.
Guys, I'm sure guys like our buddy Joe Anthony out there is happy as hell when those seals are getting eaten by the sharks.
Yeah.
Because the seals go after guys' fish too. So you're out fishing.
And the salmon, they're not great for salmon populations when those numbers get
they're not
high.
good for anything like that. So seals are, they're very destructive. So I think the local boys would be loving the fact that the big great whites are coming in and eating up the seals, to be honest with you.
Yeah, probably,
But anyways, it's interesting news.
Over 1,000 of them in that bay they found. So they tagged over 1,000. That's
really?
Probably only a fraction of what is actually in there.
Yeah. And some of these ones that are on the Shark Tracker are some decent sized sharks. There's some juveniles in there, but there's even a juvenile great white is an impressive beast.
Oh, I
They're
bet.
big. So we have great white sharks in Canada, everybody, in case you didn't know that. And it's probably going to get more popular or more populated as time goes on, because as the temperatures change, etc. So interesting news, buddy.
Yeah.
So moving on, we're just ripping through this stuff quick because we
got Dmitri on the sidelines.
Dmitri on the sidelines, and we got to pack all our gear and head home finally after this massive 3-shoot trip, Ricky? We've been on the road for a bit, for sure. This is the fan question brought to... Oh, I want to just make sure I do justice to J&B Cycle. They are jbcycle.com if you want to give them a look on the internet. J&B Cycle and Marine. Just want to give that little shout out for them. So if you want to check them out, please do. jvcyclemarine.com. So
Yeah.
a fan question brought to you by fishfindermounts.com. So we got a lot of .comers coming up here, Dino, as usual, right?
Yep.
We used their stuff this weekend and it worked out really good. That
it's great.
That little new mount we got, the little twister or whatever you call
Gen
it.
3.
Gen 3. Wow.
Yeah,
Fantastic.
game changer.
Yeah, game changer. Submitted by Mason Debou. Dubois.
That's got to be a French
Dubois.
name, too.
That's a French name for sure. Mason Dubois. Not sure. Via email. Not sure where Mason's from. Again, submit your questions to info@fishingcanada.com, Facebook, Instagram,
and
YouTube.
preferably YouTube. This was another one I had to pull from the archives of our emails.
Mm-hmm.
But if you ask it on YouTube, our store manager has a nice prize for you if it gets picked. So we're trying to help people out, but people aren't commenting on YouTube.
Yeah, well,
You gotta send people
it's
there.
a good little $50 certificate.
Oh,
You
it's
can
nice.
get
That's
a
a
hoodie.
hoodie. That's a hoodie.
Yeah, it's a free hoodie, or maybe there's some kind of shipping. It might be $10 or whatever in the total or something. That's a pretty good deal for stuff that's quality like that, campus crew quality. So.
Yeah.
Question. Hey guys, I have heard you talk a lot about the open water smallmouth pattern that exists on most lakes. Does this apply to some other shallow water species like largemouth and northern pike? That is a great question, especially nowadays, now that we're discovering more open water fishing and all that kind of stuff. And I will most definitely say yes to both, but it depends on the lake for both species, but for largemouth especially. There are open water largemouth, but it's not prominent, at least in the lakes that I fish, because I'm a largemouth nut, and I will look for them here, there, and everywhere. And I have discovered them sometimes on certain lakes in the open water, but not a lot. And the reason I've discovered them is because I'm watching LiveScope, of course, because the open water stuff is very difficult to target certain fish. And I'm usually smallmouth fishing on these combination lakes with smallmouth and largemouth. And every now and then, 15 feet of water or whatever, and all of a sudden I drop my tube or my craw or whatever out there, and boom, I'll catch a largemouth. And I say, what is that fish doing out here 150 yards from the weed bed, 150 yards from the rocks over there? What's he doing out here, But they're out there obviously feeding. I think there's perch and stuff like that in most of these lakes. Yeah. So I get it the odd time. I'm sure there's other guys that are out there that are onto something that are probably not even telling people. In the U.S., it is an absolute thing. Toledo Bend Reservoir, all these reservoirs in Texas, except for the big open water, et cetera, for the big open water lakes, all kinds of largemouth that are just being discovered now offshore. All these guys that used to fish docks and weeds and rocks and everything else, and they're finding great big giant largemouth just swimming by one or two fish. Maybe a lot of loners out there, so it's prominent. There's probably a good one going on certain lakes in Canada, not just Ontario, but it still has to be discovered. Guys like Corey and Chris and Gussie and Coop, they're probably onto it up here more than anybody, and some local guides maybe and stuff like that. But so it is. But pike. That's a different story.
Yeah.
Pike is a different story. So what we've discovered on a lake like this right here, Lac Beauchêne, for instance, there's an open water bite on every species out here because there's cisco, there's all kinds of minnow, but there's cisco. So if you have a deep lake with cisco, with minnows, with all this pelagic bay fish that swim around that lake in big groups and big schools, et cetera, big fish have to follow that, right?
Yeah,
so, and every species. The thing about northern pike in open water, what I have found is that it's usually the larger fish in the lake that do it. And what I found, very limited. I'm still working on it. I tell you, Dean, every time I say, I got to get onto these open water pike here. I got to get on there. Lake Ontario, there's got to be. They don't seem to hang in schools out there.
No.
From what I've seen, it's a lot of times an individual fish just sitting out there. It's a big log, and they just sit there. They don't even move. They're kind of sunning or whatever they're doing, 20, 30 feet down in 100 feet of water, 50 feet of water, whatever. But they do it. But if you can find that fish, again, it's very difficult without live scope, forward-facing sonar. If you can find that fish and you put anything over his head, a crankbait that got, suspending crankbait, suspending minnow bait, swim bait, anything like that over its head, that fish 99% of the time is going to crack you. And
I find there's normally association with those big ones out deep with either burbot or whitefish. Anything big that they can eat. Like the biggest pike I've caught in open water had burbot hanging out of their mouths.
Really?
I've caught 3 or 4 like that with just big like burbot
That's
tails.
Cool.
That might be what he's talking about with the save the burbot.
He's
trying to stop these pike from
eat the pike, kill the pike, save the burbot.
And like big burbot, like big burbot.
But okay, correct me though. Are burbot not a bottom fish?
They are, which is what I've always found kind of strange. I don't know anything about what burbot do in the summer.
Right.
I don't know if many people do even. I remember we covered a story on this podcast a while ago where they were trying to use anglers to learn more about them, because even science, they don't, you only get so much money to do to do like the research.
Yeah.
And burbot just aren't really on the radar. They're not really worth the money.
Well, it's not a game fish, right?
Yeah.
So why should they spend money? How can they justify money on that?
So I've never caught a burbot in the summer in open water, but I've caught pike who have been eating burbot.
That's crazy.
And those pike are normally in like 40, 45 feet of water. So they're getting these burbot somewhere. Maybe at night they come up.
Are these pikes suspended?
Yep.
Yeah.
Always.
There's almost always. I think they stay above the thermocline or close to the thermocline, right? It's not. I don't think they're below it.
No.
The ones that I've seen, they're in that 22, 24. If the thermocline's 30 feet, they're at 25 feet-ish or something like that.
Yeah.
But there's definitely a pike for sure, definitely a pike, and usually the bigger pike in the lake. So keep your eyes open for that. And they're, like I say, they're single and they're very easy to identify because they're long and skinny, and they'll show up very well on your sonar. And then there is a largemouth pattern. And buddy, if you get onto that, give me a note because I want to hear all about it. I want to know everything about it because I'm a largemouth freak, and that would be so much fun getting onto an open water largemouth pattern. So I think that's it, eh?
Yeah, we're good.
Thank you, buddy. And that was from, what was his name? That was the French guy, Dubout. Mason Dubout. Thank you, Mason, via email. And again, what Dean said is try to do, if you get a question in by YouTube, you will get a chance at that $50 review. Ange wants to give this away. He's been waiting to give this stuff away. So he said, come on, people, I can't believe it. So coming up, Dean's going to be shifting over to the board for the end part of the show. I am going to get, do you know his last name?
I don't.
Dmitri?
I don't.
Dmitri, we'll get his last name afterwards. You have to write it down, obviously. Dmitri, who is I think the manager here at La Réserve Beauchêne, and he's going to tell us all about this absolutely fantastic facility, and I'll get into a little bit of the fishing that we did here, et cetera, et cetera. So right after this one.
Hey anglers, want to turn your next catch into a competition? Well, check out Anglers Leaderboard, the new fishing platform that lets you track your catches, join friendly competitions, enter tournaments, and see how you rank against others in your region. Use your phone and the photo measure board to automatically detect length and species. No more guesswork. Whether you're fishing for pleasure or to compete, ALB makes every catch count. What's your ALB score? Well, get Anglers Leaderboard today and start climbing the ranks. Visit anglersleaderboard.com to learn more. This episode is brought to you by Sail. Sail is proudly Canadian and stocked with over 100 Canadian brands you know and love.
From rods and reels to sonars to kayaks and every last lure you've seen on the Fishing Canada show, Sail has all the gear to get you on the water.
Drop into one of 12 stores across Ontario and Quebec and talk to the real fishing specialists, or gear up online anytime at sail.ca.
Sail, the ultimate destination for your outdoor adventures. Okay, as we said at the top of the show, Dino's going to slide over there, Rick's going to slide over there, and I have Dmitri Dagger. I got his last name down now. I got it pretty good now. So Dmitri Dagger is the assistant manager here at La Réserve Beauchêne. But Bert, before that, we're going to talk to you about our little sponsor, Silverwax. Some boat cleaner, some hull cleaner, some bug cleaner, et cetera, et cetera. This stuff is really, really good. And the last line they have here is what I want to talk about today, because I've never said this before, but it's pro-grade auto care and cleaning technology, easy for everyone to use. So you don't have to be a car detailer. You can be a hack like me that just barely gets by. You can be as good as Angelo is very much probably a pro detailer, but this stuff really does work. So we highly recommend it. But back to the meat and potatoes of the show. Dmitri Dagger. Dmitri, thanks for coming on, buddy.
Well, thank you, Pete. Welcome to Beauchêne.
Oh, thank you so much. This has been an absolute pleasure of a trip. As it's called, La Réserve Beauchêne. It is a reserve, right? What is like a reserve? What would we say the whole property is?
They called it the Réserve Beauchêne in French. In English, we call it the Beauchêne Wilderness Lodge.
Okay, perfect. Okay.
And what we have is 50,000 acres of exclusive fishing, hunting rights.
Wow. Okay. 50,000 acres. Well, we were talking about that this morning. Yeah. We thought it was like 20,000 or something. It's
like that. 50,000 acres with 40 different lakes.
Okay.
And 7 different fish species.
Okay, so let's talk first off about we have a big fishing audience. What fish species are here?
So we do have brook trout or speckled trout.
Yep.
We have splake.
Yep.
Lake trout, smallmouth bass, pike, and whitefish.
Oh wow! And walleye.
And walleye,
Yeah.
of course.
Forget the main one,
Oh,
right?
yeah.
Okay, so we'll break it down now. Of all these, so how does the system work? I know how it works, but I want you to tell everybody how this works. So when we come, you reserve 4 days at the beautiful lodge in this moose cabin, let's say, or whatever. You want to do some fishing every day, and you don't want to do just the main lake right in front of us. This is Lac Beauchêne. So how does it work with all the rest of the lakes that you have?
So we just book a lake for you. It'll be yours for the whole day.
Okay.
And no one else will be on that lake.
Perfect.
You just go, you fish. We have boats on every single lake.
Okay.
And do what you need to do and come back.
And then motors, et cetera, do you need, like, how's that work? But
Some back lakes have motors on their boats.
okay.
And we'll still give you electric motors,
Right.
batteries, and
Okay.
all the safety equipment.
Yep.
And others, like all the brook trout lakes, we don't have any gas motors on those.
Right.
So
Okay.
we'll just give you the trolling motors, the batteries, and the rest of the equipment.
So that's smart. So you're keeping kind of the gas out of the lake. You're keeping the lake pure, right? That's what you're
perfect.
doing.
And most, if not all, of our lakes are glacier lakes.
Yeah,
So it's very
yeah.
clear water, oligotrophic,
Yeah. Yeah.
very few weeds in them.
Okay. Very good. Because I know. So on our first lake we went to, Dino, I can feel stinky here behind me. Hey, buddy.
Hey, what's
How
up?
are you, brother? Look at this dog. Look, they got two of these big boys here. They're just friggin' awesome. Hey, this is Watson, right?
Yeah.
Hello,
that's
Watson. He's the best. My handle stink now, like
Oh,
dog. Oh yeah, I like that. That's good smell.
They like the water.
Yeah. So the first lake we went into, Dean did a segment on it was a splake lake
Yes.
and now a brook trout lake as well. Tell us about that. What lake? What lake was that? Remember?
This lake is Foley Lake.
Foley Lake, correct.
And we do stock it with splake every single year.
Okay.
But a few years ago, it's part of our reproduction assistance
Yep.
program that we have on our native
Yep.
brook trout lakes.
Okay.
We did move a few
Okay.
of those brookies.
So
in
native
there.
brook trout from one lake to another, like
Yep.
to this one.
Yep.
Okay.
And this is we're doing a follow-up on the growth rates in a lake versus another one.
Yeah. Yeah.
And over a few years now, we have natural reproduction that's also happening over there. So
Oh, see,
the brookies
that worked
are
well then, right?
reproducing successfully.
So that would be a spring-fed lake, I would assume.
Yes,
It must
yes.
be, right? I think brook trout need
Yeah,
spring-fed
they do.
or maybe a river or something like that.
yeah,
But
some fresh water
flowing, yeah.
has to keep washing
Right.
the eggs.
Right. Well,
so
that's a
they
good
don't rot.
idea. So, and that won't affect the splake fishing at all when you add brook trout into a splake lake? Would it do
Doesn't
anything?
seem to.
Okay.
And the ratio of brookies to splake is very low.
Yeah.
So we have a couple of thousand splake at least
Right.
versus maybe 100 brookies.
Okay. Okay. Very interesting. So I think I'm assuming that you guys are on top of every lake that you have of the 40
Absolutely.
lakes. You know all the species in it, and you get reports. I think the good thing is with fishing reports, right? When people come back and say,
Oh, absolutely.
Hey,
Everything has to be.
when I talked to one of your
wrote down.
guides yesterday, what's your guide there that we talked to?
Harry,
No.
Loic.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Loic, yeah.
He was telling us. So this is going to freak you out, people listening. He took a family to a smallmouth bass lake yesterday, and the fishing has been it's been slow right now because we've had a week and a half of 30 to 35 degrees Celsius weather. The water temperature is 75 degrees. It's just insanely hot. And he said, yeah, there's something wrong with the fishing. And I said, oh, yeah? He says, yeah, we only caught 100 today. Remember him saying that to me yesterday? And I
that
shit
lake?
my pants. I said, what? And he said, oh, yeah, we got one every third cast. And normally it's every cast.
Oh yeah, on that lake, that is a slow day.
Smallmouth bass. Can you imagine?
You could
that's
easily
insane.
catch 200 fish
Really?
each angler
Each person.
for the
So it's almost every cast.
Yeah,
Like on the right day,
Almost, yeah.
it's every cast.
It's just
Wow.
packed of smallmouth.
Yeah. So there's an example of that. I wanted to avoid that because we didn't really want to show small fish on the Fish in Canada show. So I went to Lake 22, which is
Douglas Lake.
Douglas Lake. And Dmitri told me that there's some bigger fish, bigger smallmouth in there. And there was even in the heat of the day, the brutal heat, we were catching gorgeous, 2.5 to 3 pound smallmouth. And I bonused out. We started working the shallows, the usual stuff, looking beautiful. Then I said, I got to start looking at deep because it was getting at lunchtime. Hot. We looked out and we saw in 30 feet of water, right on the bottom, there was this single fish on the bottom. I said, there's a big smallie. I'm going to cast out to that one. I come right up, set the hook. I thought, yes! It was a friggin' lake trout. It was a lake trout about 4 pounds or whatever it was. I thought, wow, what a bonus that was. I did that twice to 2 fish down in 30 feet of water. Plus, the next one over would be a smallmouth. It was an amazing fish. It was great. What a great day. And we only did half a day in each of these lakes, and we did really well, enough to make a Fish in Canada show, or make 2/3 of the Fish in Canada show. And then the rest of our show that we did on Main Lake, the Main Lake Beauchêne, and we wanted to feature walleye as a number one. And again, it was no problem. We didn't get any big fish, and I know this lake has got lots of big fish in it, but it's these conditions and all that. But we found, of course, Dmitri and all the guides, we all got together. They threw waypoints in our machine and all that stuff and gave us an indication of where to start. We wanted to do a trolling thing here. Dean and I wanted to do a trolling pattern just for Yozuri's sake, the Yozuri lures and stuff like that. So we stuck right with the program, ran our big crystal minnow deep diver crankbaits down there. And the interesting part was, again, and the one run yesterday morning, we found this 100-foot deep hole. And it was, I told Dmitri all about this. We started our trolling passes. Well, it's getting deeper here. And then Dean looked at the fish finder. He said, look at the fish finder. And it was at the traditional screen. It was just covered with fish and looked like bait or whatever, but it looked different than everything else. And sure as hell, boom, first fish was a beautiful walleye. Okay, that's great. That's beautiful. Get the show on the go. Keep rolling a little farther. Dean's up now. Boom, lake trout. Same thing on the crystal minnow walleye bait. Like that. What the heck? This is awesome. 100 feet of water still. Boom, we get another one. It's a smallmouth bass in 100 feet of water. And it was only about a 16-incher, and it was just as fat as a football. It was loaded with food, loaded with bait, and still, just eating like an insane thing. So that was the only triple we had of that. But that whole 100-foot hole, and then into another bay in that area, we just kept trolling that back and forth. We got walleye every pass. We got walleye, and it was just quality fishing. So it's a very cool area you got here for sure.
Oh yeah.
Now on the main lake, Lac Beauchêne, we got lots of boats. Princecraft boats, by the way, Princecraft boats and Mercury motors on all these rigs here, which is, we've never seen that, buddy. Like, this is the first lodge we've ever come to that has had all Princecraft boats and all Mercury motors. Even the boats over to the side there, the other guys, they're all running Princecraft. It's so cool.
Even our upgrades are Princecrafts. Yeah.
So, the outlakes everywhere. So, on this lake, take me through from your opening of the reserve for guests to the closing. So it's a spring to fall or whatever, and what they can fish for.
So right at the opening,
which is what time of year would it be?
We open around the second week of May.
Okay.
Depending on the years.
Yep.
And the ice.
Yep. Yeah.
You can start right away with Lakers.
Yep.
They'll be quite shallow, and you can get some whitefish before they head deep.
Yep.
Usually these are bycatches when you're fishing for walleyes later in the season.
Right.
But early season they'll be cruising the shallows, looking for food. And you can even try your luck at smallmouth.
So the smallmouth season's open in May?
Not in the rest of Quebec.
Oh,
but
okay.
we do have a special permission to fish for them.
Excellent.
From the opening until the closing.
Okay.
Because smallmouth bass have been a catch and release only fish since I'd say the mid-'80s. So we have quite a big and healthy population of smallmouth.
So is that your policy, the catch and release, or is that the province policy?
Actually, it's our own policy.
Yeah.
And throughout the whole of Beauchêne, we're on a modified catch and release rule.
Okay.
And guests cannot take any of the fish back home, so no fish can leave the premises, but they're more than welcome to keep some, to have along their meals.
To eat here, okay.
This gives us a good balance between, being able to eat some fish, but also preserving our stocks at a healthy level.
You know what? That's seems to be the way things are going now everywhere.
Sure.
And it needs to, because these lodges of like in Northern Ontario, we fish in Ontario all the time, and these lodges. And you should have been back here in the 70s, in the 60s and all that. Well, if you wouldn't have killed all those fish all in the 70s and 60s, they'd still be a good population.
For sure.
It's impossible to kill that population, right? So it's the humans that have been doing it. So good for you guys to be doing that.
And as far as we know, we were the first in Quebec to start the catch and release practice.
Oh, nice.
It was largely unknown back then in the 80s. Yeah.
Excellent. Good for you guys. Good. This episode is brought to you by Angler's Leaderboard and its photo measure feature. Angler's Leaderboard makes every catch count by integrating seamlessly with their patent-pending AI-enabled fish measurement board. Now you can automatically measure catch length and detect species in seconds just by using your smartphone camera. It's fast, accurate, and reduces handling. So now you can release healthier fish and keep fishing for the big ones. Learn more at anglersleaderboard.com. So other species, like not so popular species like whitefish, are there people that will come up here literally and take a day or whatever and just say, let's target whitefish?
Few have tried.
Yeah.
It's tough.
Yeah, it's got to be tough.
Early season, you can get them at the shallower shoals.
Yeah.
And the humps and maybe the shorelines in the evenings.
Okay.
But once the water warms up, they'll school up. They'll go deep.
Right.
So you need to find the school, stay on top of the school.
Yeah.
And try to get them.
It's hard in the wind too and stuff like that.
And they have small brittle lips.
Yeah.
So
That's very finessey.
Yeah.
Go. I saw some guides around here. So do you offer guide service as well?
Yes, we do.
Okay. So tell us a bit about that. So how many guides have you got working, and how does a person get the guides?
Just have to book it in advance if they're available.
Okay.
Make them available for you.
Right.
We have 3 guides on premises at all times, and a few other call-in guys.
Okay.
For special.
Okay, and they can they can guide either on the big lake or any of the back lakes.
Any of the back lakes.
So that's a good idea
Big
for
lake.
people that are coming to a place like this, little wee tiny back lakes. You got you're hiking in. You have no idea. Not let alone a big lake like this. Even those little lakes, they're big enough to be intimidating, and the guides will know the best spots and what to try, what to do, right?
They'll save you a lot of time just trying to find the fish and figure it out. Patterns.
Exactly. And then so it's the same thing basically as booking a back lake. If I said I want to go to Lake 22 and I want guide A, you guys can set that up, right?
Definitely.
Perfect. And
they'll help you with everything, carrying the equipment, getting the boats.
They'll
show you spots for later.
You know what? Let's get quickly. We'll talk about that. Is that the first lake we went to? We literally drove to the boats.
Yeah.
Like we just parked the truck, grabbed the batteries, the trolling motor, and that's our gear in the boats, and we pushed them off. There was 2 boats in there, and it was gone. The second one was a tiny walk. I thought, oh boy, we got to walk, and I looked down. It was only about from here to the lake. Now it's probably about 30 yards at most, and we just got to carry down a little trail. So, is there any long walks that is there some that are
just a few of them?
Yeah.
But I'd say 90% of the lakes you can drive right to the landing.
Yeah, that's great.
And they're all within 25-minute drive.
Okay,
from
perfect.
The main
Up from
lodge,
the main
so
lodge.
you will not be wasting half the day just to get to the lake.
Yeah. So you're basically what we discovered is you drive through the gravel road from the lodge here. Sometimes you get onto a main road that's out there, kind of a logging road or whatever that the trucks use. And then you come up, you see that there's a sign there that says Lake 22, and then Douglas Lake, and then you take that little road, and it's kind of a really nice little trail. By the way, we got stuck. There was a tree down on one of the lakes. Was it Douglas Lake, Dino?
No, that was the first one.
That was the first one.
Foley
Lake.
We had to get out and
to push it away.
and push the log away. So, quick story on that one. So, we got back in the truck, and Dean goes, "Oh shit, I lost my Leatherman." I said, "No, it's got to be in the bush." Oh, no way. You know what I mean? So, the day went on, and then I looked, and Dean's Leatherman was sitting on the truck seat. He didn't know it. So I picked it up and put it in my pocket. I says, well, we'll look for it on the way out. So we're walking through the bush. I got Rick and Dean. They're looking, everybody's scouting through, and I walk in. I go, oh my God, that's got, and then, no way. They're saying, you found it. I go, look what I got, boys. And I went back, I handed it to them. Then I told them the story. They called me an asshole. You're such an asshole. So anyways, yeah, it's an adventure. These little roads that you go in, they're perfect for a truck. You're not going to scratch your truck up or anything like that. But it's just, you can tell it's isolation. You're driving into isolation, and then you get to this little destination. You see where the landing is. You see the boats. It's just it's a great experience. You know what I mean? It's very nice, different than the main lake, but still, lots of fish and lots of quality.
And speaking of isolation, while you get the feeling of being isolated, secluded.
Yeah.
Where just a hike from the pavement.
Yeah.
About 20-25 minutes.
Yeah.
And we're just about 5 hours from Toronto as well.
Yeah, we got to talk about that. Yeah, we're the GTA. We're Oshawa, and Rick's from Maynooth, so he's even closer than we are. But yeah, it was 5 hours door to door for us. It's just an easy drive, just an hour past North Bay. Is it an hour past North Bay ish or something like that?
An hour you get to town.
Yeah, like that. So it's when you hear about these isolation and these lakes that are so far accessible. It's not. I mean, it's an easy drive to the cottage. We're parked right in front of our cabin, not cottage. I call it a cabin, our cottage all the time, but beautiful cabins. It's luxury. It's easy to get to, and the quality here, the fishing is absolutely outstanding. I wanted to quickly talk about the walleye here and the main lake, because that is a big one for a lot of people.
Oh yeah.
Well, what's the lake record? Do you know what the lake record is for walleye here for your guests or whatever, or a guide or whatever?
I've seen 34 inches.
There you go, right there, 34-inch
Once.
walleye. Okay, that's an absolute giant. That's a Lake Ontario sized walleye. You know what I mean? That's probably a 13 to 15 pound walleye in that area. You know
27, 28 inches are really
common. We have heard, we kept hearing from everybody the week before we got here. You should have been here last week. So the week before, everybody was getting a 27 or 26 or 28, along with a bunch like that. So I think the fishery here is quality. Are they more jigging oriented walleye here, trolling, or is it a combination of both?
It's a combination.
Yeah.
When it's sunny, blue skies, you'd better off trolling during the day.
Yep.
Since they're suspended and scattered.
Yep.
And then once the evening comes on, you can go and find them on the shoals and try to jig for them.
And the structures and the shoals here, just let everybody know, although we didn't fish them for walleye, we went around them, we were marking them, and we were fishing the outside, deeper edges of them there. This lake is full of beautiful structure. Our Garmin maps were very good. One of your guides there, he was saying, wow, these are really good. I can't believe it. I was showing some of the stuff. But again, they don't have everything on it. The little hidden pieces of gems and all these little structures that all of a sudden come up in the middle of nowhere that are not marked in your maps, those are the ones that you got to look for in this lake. And you're not in any danger of hitting these shoals out there. The only place that you have to be cautious is between the two ends of the lakes. There's a little narrows that you go through, and the guys here, they'll all tell you which way it's all marked out perfectly with buoys. But those little hidden structures, I know if you came back here, like I would love to fish this lake in October, with dragging a big minnow or something like that for walleye. I think you'd have a heyday out here. A big fish. It would be incredible. So
they'll go a bit deeper in October.
Experience. Yeah, exactly.
You'll find them around those structures.
Exactly. Anything else you want to talk about? Is there anything else you want? The history of the place? It's up to you. We can.
Well, first of all, we might be in Quebec.
Yeah.
But we're just at Ontario's doorstep, like we just mentioned.
Perfect.
As is the whole of the Témiscamingue and Abitibi area.
Yep,
so
for sure.
It's very accessible to Ontarians coming from the GTA or even Ottawa. It's even a shorter drive.
Yeah. And you know what? They have a lot of U.S. customers here, so it's even that. It's a very accessible place, very friendly. We have found, honestly, buddy, the between this and our Kippawa trip before this, the hospitality of your place, this place, everybody, the gas stations we stop at, the stores we stop at has been absolutely outstanding. We are just, I guarantee you we will be back if you'll have us back. And we just, it was an outstanding trip, and we thank you very much for all this. So.
Pleasure, Pete.
All right, buddy. Thank you.
Thank you for being
here. Everybody, that is it from our On the Road Again, Lac Beauchêne, La Réserve Beauchêne, Beauchêne Wilderness Resort. Is that right?
Wilderness Lodge.
Wilderness Lodge. Thank you very much, Dmitri, Pete, Dean, and Rick. We'll see you later.
This episode of Outdoor Journal Radio is brought to you in part by the Invasive Species Centre, protecting Canada's land and water from invasive species. Freedom Cruise Canada, rent the boat, own the memories. JMB Cycle and Marine, your home for all things power sports, boats, and equipment. And Silverwax, absolute care for everything you drive.